If you were struggling to find work, there are 3 simple things I'd do ASAP. Now, I've been working for more than 25 years, much of that as a contractor. And when I left the Royal Air Force at 23, I applied for over 500 jobs before somebody finally gave me my first break. But getting the job is only half the battle. It's only the beginning. Because if you can get work, increase your income and invest some of that money consistently, you can start building wealth and potentially even retire early. So let's start with the first step and 3 simple ways to find your next job. 1. Sort out your LinkedIn profile and your CV. This does sound really basic, but I genuinely believe a lot of people make finding work really hard because they don't present themselves properly, professionally. Start with LinkedIn. Today, LinkedIn is effectively your professional shop window. If a recruiter, hiring manager, or potential employer lands on your profile, they should understand within seconds who you are, what you actually do, what experience you have, and why would they want to speak to you. Don't make people search for that information. Your headline shouldn't just say something vague like, looking for new opportunities. Tell people what you actually do. If you're an electrician, say you're an electrician. If you're a mechie, say you're a mechie. If you're a project manager with 15 years of experience in renewables, make it obvious straight away. Just try and think about how recruiters actually work, how they think. They're normally trying to fill positions quickly. They're searching for particular skills, qualifications, and experience. Make their job easier. And your CV needs to do the same thing, pretty much. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make with CVs is trying to include absolutely everything they've ever done. Your CV isn't your autobiography. The purpose is to get you through the first stage and hopefully into a conversation or even interview. Someone should be able to scan the first page and quickly understand your experience. Personally, I'd concentrate heavily on your most relevant experience, your qualifications, the industries you've worked in, the projects you've worked on, the responsibilities you've actually had, etc. If you're applying for different types of roles, and also consider having slightly different versions of your CV. Don't lie or exaggerate too much with your experience, but there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with emphasising the parts of your genuine experience that are most relevant to a particular position. To be honest, I'm all for a few white lies. I've spent years working in electrical commissioning and completions. For example, if I'm applying for a commissioning manager role, a position, I want the person reading my CV to understand my commissioning experience ASAP, as soon as possible. I don't want them reaching page 4 before they realise I'm relevant. And there's another really simple thing I'd recommend. Get somebody else to read your CV, or maybe put it into ChatGPT. 2. Message everyone you know. This is probably the biggest one for contractors. Your network matters a lot. I've built up relationships over more than 25 years of working. People I've worked alongside, managers, supervisors, recruiters, engineers, technicians, clients, people I've worked with in different countries like Tunisia and Kazakhstan. Some of those people I might not have spoken to or seen for years. But if I was looking for work tomorrow, I'd start contacting people and I wouldn't be embarrassed, not at all. I'd just say something along the lines of, hello mate, hope you're well, hope you're doing good. My current project is coming to an end and I'm starting to look for my next position, my next opportunity. If you hear of anything suitable, I'd really appreciate you keeping me in mind. That's it. You're not begging someone for a job. You're just letting your network know that you're available, that you're looking, because here's the problem. People can't help you if they don't know you need help. Shy kids get nothing. This is a saying I've heard and even used for years. It's just a fact that shy kids get nothing. If you want something, sometimes you have to ask. I've seen people sitting at home, a lot of times, waiting for recruiters to contact them. But you get someone else who's messaging 30 recruiters, contacting old managers, commenting on LinkedIn posts, and speaking to people on previous projects. Who do you think is more likely to hear about the next opportunity, the next job? A huge number of jobs are discussed before you ever see them advertised. Someone leaves a project, a manager needs another engineer, another technician. Somebody says on the project, do you know anyone who's available? And suddenly somebody's name gets mentioned. You want your name to be one of those names mentioned. That's why relationships matter. And it's also why I think you should help other people when you're in a strong position yourself. If somebody messages me, for example, looking for work, and I know someone who might be able to help, or I can help myself, I'll try to connect them, because careers are long. The person you were helping today might be the person who helps you 5 years from now. You never know where your next opportunity will come from. So build your network before you need it. Build the relationships. You don't have to be an ass kisser, absolutely not. Just be the best version of yourself if you can and try to help other people. I'm a strong believer in karma. So talk to people, comment on industry posts, share useful information, congratulate people when they get new positions. Stay in touch with old colleagues. Be useful to other people in general. Then, when you do need help, you're not contacting complete strangers. You're contacting people who you've built relationships with, relationships you've maintained throughout your career. 3, apply for as many suitable jobs as humanly possible. This is where my own experience really shaped the way I think. When I left the RAF at 23, I was trying to get my first proper break outside of the military. And I applied for over 500 jobs, like I said earlier. Think about that for a second. More than 500 applications. I got rejected. I got ignored. I applied for jobs and never heard anything back. It was like the jobs advertised on CV Library just weren't there. They didn't exist. But eventually, somebody gave me an opportunity. And that's all I needed. Now, we could talk about getting a job all day long. So if you have any specific questions, get them in the comments. And if I can help, I will. Now, I want to talk to you about investing, what this channel is mainly about. Just before we do that, this video, as always, doesn't contain any financial advice. Hopefully, you can tell by the hundreds of videos on this channel that I do care, though. I care about you and your investing. Getting the job is only half the equation. This brings me to something I wish I'd understood much earlier in my own career. For years, my main financial objective was earn more money, get another contract, increase my rate, work more hours, take opportunities overseas. And earning more money absolutely matters. Of course it does. It's difficult to build wealth if there's nothing left over at the end of the month. Eventually, I realised something important. I didn't simply want to earn more from working. I wanted the money I earned from working to eventually give me the choice not to work. That's a very different objective, very different goal. Turn your income into assets. Imagine 2 people both earning £60,000 a year. The first person's income rises over the next 10 years. Every time they earn more, they spend more. Bigger car, more expensive holidays, bigger monthly commitments. Their lifestyle grows alongside their salary, their income. This is called lifestyle creep, something that I fell into in 2012, pushed into by Mrs. Duffy, who I sometimes have a little whinge and moan about on this channel. Anyway, 10 years later, they're earning considerably more money, but they're still completely dependent on receiving their salary every single month. The second person increases their income, but deliberately keeps a gap between what they earn and what they spend. And they invest that difference month after month, year after year into productive assets. Eventually, those assets start growing independently of the hours that person works. That's the transition I'm interested in. Work creates income, income buys assets, assets create options. And eventually, those options can create freedom, like working when you want to work or not working at all. Imagine waking up just as happy on a Monday morning as you are on a Friday afternoon. Make work optional. I think there's sometimes a misunderstanding around financial independence, financial freedom. It doesn't necessarily mean sitting on a beach at 40 and never working again. You might actually enjoy your job. I enjoy working on projects, or some projects. I enjoy engineering. I enjoy building businesses. I enjoy making these videos. But there's a massive psychological difference between I have to work and I choose to work. That's ultimately what investing can give you. Choice, freedom of choice. Maybe you go down to 4 days a week or even 3. Maybe you stop working overseas. Maybe you turn down a project you don't fancy. Maybe you change career. Maybe you start a business. Maybe you retire at 55 instead of 67. Financial independence doesn't have to mean never working again. It means work becomes increasingly optional. That's what I'm after. If you want to start investing and need a bit of one-to-one help and support, by the way, you can join my free investing community on School. Just type School below in the comments. Earn more, invest more, build freedom. And that's something I want to talk about more on this channel. Because investing doesn't exist in isolation. Before you can invest money, you have to earn it. So I want to combine two things I've now spent a huge part of my life doing: working and investing. How do you get better opportunities? How do you increase your income? How do you build a career? How do you make yourself more valuable? How do you avoid wasting every pay rise? And then, how do you take that income and turn it into investments that can eventually make work optional? For me, the journey looks something like this: get work, increase your income, invest consistently, build assets, make work optional. And I think that's a much more realistic version of financial freedom for normal working people here in the UK than pretending there's some secret investment that's going to make you rich overnight. So, if you're struggling for work today, start with the basics. Sort your CV and LinkedIn out. Tell everybody you're looking and apply relentlessly. Remember this: when I left the RAF, it took me more than 500 applications to get my first break. You don't need everyone to say yes, you only need one. And when you finally start earning, start working, don't just think about what that money can buy you now, today. Think about what some of it could buy you 20 years from now. Basically, freedom. I'm a strong believer that if you fully understand your goals and you want them badly enough, you'll get them. If you'd like me to make more videos combining career, earning more money and investing to make work optional potentially, let me know in the comments, because I think that's something we're going to explore a lot more on this channel. My next video is about how your 40s can make all the difference and is very much related to this video.